The following video will support you in preparing for and participating in your Property Assessment Review Panel, or PARP, hearing, being conducted using the PARP Online Evidence Submission System, also referred to as POSE, and conference call. This video will be divided into 3 sections: preparing for your hearing, the day of your hearing, and your PARP hearing begins. Okay, let's start with preparing for your hearing. After filing your property assessment complaint or appeal, it is now time to begin to prepare for your upcoming hearing. For the purposes of this video, we'll use the example of a residential property that the owner believes is assessed at too high of a value. The owner's reasons for believing this are: the property is advertised as being high-quality finishing, but is actually low-quality finishing. Noise from the neighboring fire hall and busy roadway should affect the value. The number of other properties being developed in the area has driven down prices all over. Even though the townhouses are single-family and there is no strata, you cannot compare them to single-family dwellings, as the 3 units are attached and require a party wall agreement, and all 3 units must have insurance coverage at all times. Since the burden of proof rests with the complainant, it is up to the owners of the property to prove that the assessment is incorrect. To do so, they must present evidence to back up their reasons for believing, in this case, that the assessment is too high. As they have reasons for believing that the assessment is too high, they will need to provide evidence in support of those reasons. Let's see what they can put together. Evidence might consist of pictures showing the proximity of the fire hall and how busy it is at different times of the day, pictures of nearby development, and pictures of internal features of the house showing the low quality of finishing. Other evidence might consist of scanned documents to back up your statements and provide comparables with other similar local properties. You might also include maps showing the location of the property and other local features you've mentioned. You should add some notes to go along with the pictures. Looking through the step-by-step guide, you should now have an idea how to prepare for the hearing. You will need to ensure that all pictures are scanned and saved in an easily accessible file on your computer so that you can upload them to the PARP site. Please use simple names for each of your files to ensure that you can easily and quickly identify them during the hearing. Let's go through the process of uploading the materials that you have ready at this time. Following the instructions received after filing your complaint or appeal, you will start from the website for the PARP Online Evidence Submission System. Ensure that you have your assessment notice handy, as it contains important information that is required to log on to the system: area, jurisdiction, roll number, and PIN. Enter the required information. The first time you log into the system, you will need to enter your email address. Add your evidence by clicking on Add Files to this complaint record. When you have selected all the files you want, start the upload. Again, keep file names simple and easy to identify. Once the upload is finished, you can check the uploaded files by clicking on them to open them. Now that you've completed uploading materials, you should look and see if BC Assessment has uploaded any evidence. It seems that they have. If you wish to upload some additional files or to review evidence submitted by BC Assessment, you can log in again at any time. Please note that BC Assessment may not upload evidence until a few days prior to the hearing, so it is important to log in close to your hearing date to review the file again. Your evidence file for the hearing is now complete. Let's now look at what you need to know for the day of your hearing. Your Property Assessment Review Panel hearing is scheduled to be heard today. Let's go over a few important items to ensure that you're ready for your hearing. Have a copy of your assessment notice, as it has your roll number and PIN, which you will need to access the POS system. Have handy the 1-877 number you were provided to call into, so you can participate in the conference call aspect of the hearing. Log into the POS system before your hearing time, so that you're ready to proceed when the panel begins the hearing. Have some notes prepared, so you can easily speak to your issues and answer any questions that may arise. Be ready and be comfortable. Okay, it's almost time for your scheduled hearing to begin. Ensure that you're logged onto the website. Call into the conference line and wait on hold until the panel comes onto the call.
Okay, I think we're ready to start. Gary, can you dial in, please?
All right.
Please enter your conference ID, followed by pound. At the tone, please state your name, followed by the number sign.
Panel 612.
Announcing participant.
Do we have everybody online? Do we have everybody online for this call? Mr. Anders, are you there for BC Assessment?
Yes, I am.
And are you ready to proceed?
Yes, I am ready.
Thank you. All right, and we have the complainant for this property, Mr. Small. Are you there, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. To the participants, my name is Mike Lane. I'm chairing this panel this morning. The other panel members with me are Marina Scott and Gary Richardson. I want to make sure you understand that we are not associated in any way with any taxing body, local government, or BC Assessment Authority. We are appointed through a ministerial order to sit and independently review property assessment complaints. Each of these hearings has a scheduled time allotment of approximately 30 minutes. This is 10 minutes for you, Mr. Small, 10 minutes for BC Assessment, and 10 minutes for the panel. First of all, I will ask BC Assessment if there is a recommendation which, Mr. Small, you can accept, or if it is not accepted, then we will proceed with the hearing. Is there a recommendation, Mr. Anders?
No recommendation at this time.
Since this is a hearing that we are conducting through a means of teleconference and online document filing, I would ask each of you to identify yourself prior to speaking so that all of us have the opportunity to ask questions of the person presenting the evidence, as well as the panel members will have the opportunity also to ask questions. And please remember that when you're referring to any online documents, specify which document and which page you're referring to that we can all follow along. Now, does anyone have any questions about the procedure? And Mr. Small, if you have your computer online or have hard copy of the documents, do you have them online, the documents that we will be using?
Yes, I do.
After both sides have made their presentation, then the panel will place our phone on mute and we will go and deliberate. So please stay on the line. And one thing I want to emphasize is that when we press the mute button here, we will be muted and you cannot hear us talking, but we can still hear you. So keep that in mind. Then I will return to the call and verbally give you our decision. So Mr. Small, would you like to begin?
Thank you. If I can have you open up document 665, which is called the Firehall Creek complaint letter.
Yes, we're open here.
This is basically a Word document covering the overall portions of my complaint. I'll summarize. The finishing in my home is of a lower quality than what the...
While making your presentation, remember to clearly reference the documents that you're using to allow other participants to open and view them. Try to keep your presentation under 10 minutes.
Because of the above issues, my assessment should be reduced to $30,000, which would be a more reasonable value.
All right, thank you. Mr. Small, do you have any other evidence you'd like to give us?
I'd just like you to refer to the 3 photographs that I downloaded. The first photograph is of the generator, which is attached to the fire hall directly beside my unit. The second photograph is of the fire hall itself, so you can see the proximity of both of these nuisances. And the third photograph I'd like to refer you to is the large advertising sign that's on the highway showing the new units that are for sale in my neighborhood, which show larger square footage, higher finishing, and actually lower asking prices than what my property is currently assessed at.
All right, thank you, Mr. Small. Mr. Andrews, do you have any questions for Mr. Small at this time? And if not, we'll have the panel ask questions.
No questions, thank you.
After questions have been dealt with, the BC assessment representative presents their evidence.
Absolutely. So if I could have both the panel and the appellant open evidence ID number 662. The document is called Comp Sales 998 Fire Hall Creek.
When they have finished, you will have the opportunity to ask questions about their presentation.
Mr. Small, do you have any questions of the appraiser's presentation?
Yes, just one quick question. I noticed that of the comparables that you've provided, number 2 is my next door neighbor, 996, and he has a larger square footage and a lower assessed value. And I'm wondering if that same ratio can be applied to my property.
With the presentations over, the panel will deliberate in private. You won't be able to hear them, but the conference call is still active, and they will be able to hear you.
All right, thank you very much. I think we've heard all the evidence. What we are going to do, Mr. Small and the BC Assessment representative, we're going to put you both on mute, and we are going to deliberate for a few moments, and then we will get back to you. So please don't hang up. We will get back to you on this call in very short order. Would you mute us, please? Thank you.
As soon as the panel has reached a decision, they will inform you of it.
Are we agreed on that?
Yeah.
Then we give $30,000 because we think the comparables are more indicative of the value.
Yeah,
I think comparable number 2 is definitely applicable here.
All right, that's good. Well, let's take us off mute, and if we're happy with that, well, I'll go ahead. All right, we're back on now. Can both parties hear me? Mr. Small, are you there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. And BC Assessment, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Well, thank you both for your presentations. You were both very, gave us a lot to think about, and what our decision is that we believe that the subject property should be reduced slightly in value. We've looked at the comparables, and we think, judging by comparable number 2, we've given it the most weight, and we think the value should be reduced by $30,000. So our decision is to take the assessed value, reduce it by $30,000. The new actual value will be $327,500. Now, you will receive a copy of the written decision of this panel on or before the 7th of April. But if either party is not satisfied with the decision, you have a right to file an appeal. This appeal requires a $30 filing fee and a written application, and the appeal notice must be on file before the 30th of April. Thank you very much for your attendance. If there are no other comments or questions, we will be ending this call.
Thank you for taking the time to hear my complaint.
You can now log off the POS system, and the hearing process is complete.